What's good? It's your boy TheCzarr, all rights reserved. As we work through the confines, hit the like, share, subscribe button, donate, and support the channel. That is the methodology we use. Just like your favorite politics, we working hard from the bottom up. While many joked we ain't have a pot to piss. Let me get into this. Connections, connections, connections. Even as I speak about this, there's a totally different subject we're being shocked by. Shout to Agent M. She is doing an incredible job. We're going through different things. We're somewhere else together. To our knowledge, I can't break down too much, but we found some type of, let's say, viability in Capricorns. I don't know what it means, but I just know that we're currently working with a Capricorn and a Phoenix. That's the totality of what it is that we're looking into, trying to understand, going over information. There's a lot of different parts and pieces that are moving, but we are putting it together slowly, and we have an overall understanding of the picture. We just want to make sure that we have the right additives to the picture to make sense of something. Now, going forward, we're trying to go and make the continued connections, but 7's the magic number, 10's the probable number, and 12's the number we deny. That's the ultimate understanding, and that's the best symbolism I can give to what it is we're trying to look into. Now, we see how people are connected. For instance, we're seeing a connection at Riva Motorsports, at certain people that end up at Riva Motorsports, at the different situations that involve the alleged plotting, at different situations that happen on social media posts afterwards, social media posts and tweets beforehand, posts even to date, music that could have been made that alleges things. But see, we also understand some of the music, some of the things are put out there, let's say, as a distraction from what the truth of the matter is. That's the thing. I want to ask this. If you knew your homie was set up and you knew someone you cared about was set up, would you react? If you could save somebody's situation, would you save it? Or would you let it all go down for the value and the ability of your own progression? That is a feature we're also beginning to look at and understand. That sometimes it was more about the money, more about what could occur rather than getting someone out of dodge of what happens. And, I can understand that, and I see it from many different instances. I'm not square with the understanding to something like that, but I ask you as someone who is part of CommenterNation what you think of that. Another thing I wanted to get into is that if we are potentially looking at what it is and understanding what it is before us, could this have been an effect of a higher level? For instance, it has nothing to just do with the suspects at hand, but the suspects may have known someone who gave them something. And that could have been instructions to items. Then the person getting instructions to items could have set things up by having someone who worked in part in giving favors to something allegedly. There's multiple moving parts. And when this happens this way, that's how you know the setup was real. That's how you know a setup was real. So no wonder these suspects are kicking, screaming, and crying, because they're like, well, I didn't do this. How could I do that? I don't have the power to do this. So how are they alluding that I'm involved with this and that? These are major factors that are going to begin to bite a mastermind plot. It's going to begin to unfold it. And here's my thing. I'm going to call this now. If they go forward with the suspects, it is likely they will never find out what really happened. And that's what most of the people you see that were causing confusion, causing strife against us are putting before you. They're letting you know if this falls out, people will slide away with this. And these are the factors that most people dread, especially the fans. But I want to put out there, you can't take it to heart. It is the way the information is unveiling itself. And if there's so many distractions that are occurring from so many different angles, sometimes it confuses even authority. They can't pick through every little piece, and they don't have the knowledge to combat and battle against every scenario. That's what you got to understand. This is a battle of a higher authority, a higher effect. There was something in the larger scheme of things gained that no one will see in the background until later on. Thus why I presume the phrase, by the time you realize it'll be too late, a phrase used by other people that are in the scenario that I've looked into, I didn't really see, but now I'm starting to see. I want to say this. Could there have been socialites that spoken of influence that were saying things to hint that could be the reason behind why they're gone or why they're quiet or out of the picture? Is this a possibility? Let me take another step. Could it be that some people know, but they're just sticking so hard to the code because money's rolling in that they stay quiet? You see, those people wouldn't need threats because the only threat they need is about money, because that's what's most important to them. That is the very thing that they live for. That is what they're willing to lose everything for, to risk it all for. It's just for the money. That's why we presume certain situations arisen as they have. Also, let's take a look at the fact that if we see multiple people acting a certain way, could it be alluding to a different outcome that is speculation and conspiracy in most people's minds? You know, as we work through the understanding of a Capricorn and the inclusion of a Phoenix mentality, you can't forget the shark. And if you look at the behavior of all of these animals, it begins to open up a lot of different scenarios and how they occurred that are alluding to some type of scene that has been presented to us that may not be authentic to what we once have believed it to be. Again, it makes you wonder also, why has any speculation of hatred to the direct character of me has arisen, and possibilities all lie in the prior videos I've done. So take note and understanding, and maybe you'll catch on to the certain type of, let's say, habits we're starting to see. You know, Linkin Park, breaking the habit, you know what I mean? It's never easy. This is the issue I'm beginning to make up. Guys, rock with Zabella, rock with Queen Prodigy, rock with Chris A, rock with them. A lot of people say comments about Zabella. Guys, it's not true. I've spoken to her. Now, nobody's wired-tight. If we want to say that, everybody who's spoken against me, I can point out why they're not wired-tight. From the different things they post to the different comments they make, we can show anybody who's not wired-tight. But let's be authentic with this. These are people that stood, showed their face, and stood for what they believed in, received threats, had people threatening them for no reason. Why are you threatening someone over words? What if you said you want to get turned up and I started threatening everybody talking about turn up? What if you talked about the club you're at and I told you, if you go to the club to turn up, I'm shooting a rocket launcher in there. I'm pulling out a rocket and I'm going to shoot a rocket in there. What if I've started making threats like that? It's crazy. Why can't people speak their mind? What is freedom of press? What is freedom of speech? These are freedoms. Yet you guys are okay when politicians breed a certain narrative and never do what they say. Oh, that's okay. Get millions in donations. Like, share, subscribe. Seriously, put in work, believe, and stand up for what you believe in. Don't play around with it. Stand for what you believe. What are your thoughts on this? The connections. Yes, this is the story of the Capricorn and the Phoenix. How do these connections play in? What are you thinking? Let's do work. Let's make this happen. CommenterNation, greatest nation. Support, subscribe, donate. You know how it works. The more donations, the closer I get to the GoFundMe in the description below, the more I'll be able to travel, do more media, get more people on the team. I had them solid people since the beginning. That is why my content remains strong. And that is why there's things I don't even talk about that are in works that we're beginning to understand. But in that same token, support the content, support the socialites I go live with. Hold them down no matter what. Shout out to the channel that has exposed a person that is of issue, that was talking about CommenterNation in a certain way. Not the norm. It's a new one. Catching them up front right away. I appreciate you getting in contact with me, letting me know. Keep with the channel. It's always good to have new allies, especially when you're doing media and you know how I rock. All rights reserved.